All right, this episode of Dirty Side Gets Down, we're going to do timing swings on the dyno and see what kind of power difference it makes. So during the last video doing air-fuel ratio, I thought since we're already on the dyno, why don't we do the same thing with timing? And we can do a swing from like 30 degrees, 32, 34, 36. And if 36 happens to still make power, then we'll go 38. I'm not really expecting it to. I have a feeling this engine's going to be happy at 34, but we're going to do it anyway. So we're already warmed up. Let's go ahead and get that first pull down at 30 degrees and see what we get. Okay, here's the data log from that first run. You can see where we go full throttle. The dyno pulls it down and then lets it ramp up. And here you can see we've got 30 degrees of timing. And we're running roughly 13-to-1 air fuel, but it's a little rough. And we'll see why that looks rough in the next data log. Let's go ahead and jump to that 32-degree run and see what we get. Okay, here's the data log from the second run at 32 degrees. So you can see that over here. And if you look at this air fuel, this is what I was talking about, looks a lot smoother. The engine's a lot happier with that timing number. Now this isn't a definitive thing that you can 100% tune by, but it's just one of the clues that we look for when we're tuning to get things in line. So let's jump to 34 degrees and see what we get. Okay, so here's our run at 34 degrees. You can see that over here. And air fuel doesn't look as bad as it did at 30 degrees, but you can see it's a little bit rougher than it was at 32 degrees. And that definitely showed up in the dyno sheet also with the horsepower. So since power fell off at 34 degrees, we're not going to keep going for the others. So there's just no point. It's going to just keep losing power, and we're going to potentially hurt a piston or something by getting into detonation. Okay, so here's dyno graphs of all three runs together, and solid line you can see down here is 30 degrees. The dotted line up at the top here is 32 degrees, and then the finer dotted line is a little bit different color, is 34 degrees. So you can see jumping 30 to 32 degrees made a huge difference in power, and going from 32 to 34 brought power down a little bit. Definitely didn't improve anything anywhere, even though it kind of matched right in this area. Other than that, 32 degrees made the best power everywhere. So because of that, we're definitely not going to keep pushing it with more timing, because it's just going to get worse. But hopefully that gives you some good information. So I can definitely see from that this engine likes 32 degrees the most, and the little fall off there for 34, it's really how tuning goes. You typically get up to the point where it makes the most power and it just kind of levels off, or then starts to fall off as you add more timing. So then you just back it off to that good point and you're in good shape. It's always good to do some plug readings too, just to confirm. But really this was just to kind of show what you get with timing and how important it is to really have somebody tune on it that knows what they're doing. All right, so those are some pretty good results. And you can see I'm in a different shirt. The amount of cool down time between runs, this ended up having to go across 2 days. So hopefully you get something out of that, and you can see how important it is to get some tuning done. You know, that 34 degrees isn't a big jump in timing, but it made a difference in power, and then you're just getting close to that dangerous point for the engine. So it's always good to, you know, where you make the most power and keep it there. So that's gonna do it for this one. Like, subscribe, share, all that YouTube stuff. See you in the next one.